one of the many groundbreaking features is that we show the possibilities rather than maybe what people would call breakdown, disease or, specific diseases, financial woes, family struggle. We purposefully did not show what was wrong in the world of aging, what people perceive to be wrong in the world of aging. We set out to show what's possible and really what's happening out there, and showing and illustrating the creativity, as we've talked about, of people as they grow older and how they create partnerships, consciously or not, they're doing it. So that's what's really groundbreaking, is that we illuminate the vitality and vibrancy of aging, and not necessarily what media or other people view as the what aging is about.
I think the other thing that's groundbreaking, and it's related to what you're saying, is that we sort of employed a method of what I call the community teaching itself. So while it is a training film, people experience themselves as the viewer, as being part of something, as being able to relate to the people in the film and being taught by them, rather than taught by some authority or some research that says if you do this, this will turn out better and that kind of thing. But really just getting in the flow of experiencing the best parts of people and having that be the training. So I say that it's a vibrational training, it's an attunement, and it's a remembering who we can be, more than a laundry list of to-dos when you're aging. And I think that that's groundbreaking. I think that that's exciting for people. I think it's something that they can relate to. And I think because it moves people sort of at a visceral level, they remember it long after the to-dos have gone from their mind.
We always knew that it was going to have a video and workbook component. I don't know that we ever sat down and said, well, how's this going to work? And, I think because we had another model that we were working with, that we always knew that the video piece would be as important as the workbook piece, and the workbook piece would be as important as the video piece, because people learn in different ways. And so video is a way to draw people in and to engage them, and the workbook is where the rubber meets the road, and they can actually take it on in their own lives. But I think we always knew, at least I always felt that it would be a video. Now, when we actually started filming and all of that, that's when it really was amazing.
Of course, when we set out and we found our first, we literally we asked our friends, who can we interview, and we got 8 partnerships, and we interviewed them, and all 8 of them were in mutual contribution. So that came as, in some ways, as a surprise. I mean, we hoped that that's what we would find, but I think my experience was that there was so much more leadership on the part of the elders in how even those interviews went. I mean, of course, I asked the questions, but what we got, I think, was so much more than even what I expected. So
we were talking, from my expertise, I was bringing about, the typical caregiver is a 46-year-old woman caring for her mother, blah, blah, blah. I said, wouldn't it be great if we could find, a son caring for his father? Because that's not as typical, but it's occurring more and more because people are, having to do that. And we would say, and we'd see this couple, this man and his father in a wheelchair come wheeling by. Like that, and oh yeah, and we'd go on, and weeks would go by, and we'd meet again, and we'd say, something would bring to, like that couple. Well, maybe after I think the 3rd time, we finally said, why don't we just go ask them if they'd like to be in it? Because it was really an unusual. First of all, it was an unusual thing to see in the middle of the day, somebody strolling around, and then have it keep occurring. But it was sort of like God's message, like, hey, wake up, ladies.
And who was that father and son?
It was Bill Schickel and his son, Joe. And they were just, amazing. And it, was their routine. It was their noon routine. They would go for a walk, and then they'd have lunch, and he'd have wine. And so it was really neat how, we'd always asked that this project be easy. We had, set the intention that the project be easy. And when it felt hard, we knew we were supposed to just stop and kind of regroup. And so when, they presented themselves literally on the doorstep or, you know, on the sidewalk outside. That was pretty neat.
We didn't really know what the film would be. And so it was difficult to even explain to them kind of where we were going. We had this notion of partnerships, and we wanted to find relationships that worked. And so we were just going to be asking them questions. And people, I mean, really universally, these elder partnerships just opened their doors and homes to us. We got no kind of flack about, you know, what are you going to do with this footage? And, you know, it was people being, I mean, extremely authentic, and warm and just willing, as we were, to find out what would this be. And I think, I mean, you know, we haven't launched yet, and to this day, I think they still don't know quite what it is. And so it's going to be a big fun to, you know, show it to them and let them see what it's become.
And I had the sense that even though maybe it was a little intimidating when we rang the doorbell and all this equipment starts parading through, but when you watch and when, you know, we were, you know, listening to the interviews taking place, they really just got lost in the moment and what they wanted to, you know, what they wanted to contribute. And that's what's really neat, is to see that it just comes through so authentically without a lot of effort, you know, and that they were very relaxed. And even though they might have been nervous at the beginning, you know, that really what was important was what they had to say, and that we've captured that.
I want to say too that it's been very gratifying for me when you talk about like what feelings are there at every stage. The other thing that's been there for me is how gratifying it is to set out to want to teach something fairly particular, and to be able to do it by showing the best parts of people. I mean, that in some ways we don't need to be taught, we just need to remember, you know, the best parts of ourselves. And that to me has been just fantastic. And I that's what I love about what I do, but is just being able to show the best of humanity.
There was a moment when we were interviewing Paula and Jamie, and Paula was talking about when she remodeled the house down the street and how she had to fire her contractors, and, you know, she was left to basically do it herself, and she couldn't, you know, she said, well, you know, God doesn't lead you this far just to let you fail. And I was a bucket of tears, and that, you know, behind the scenes just crying, because that's how I felt, because this is something bigger than I've ever done before. And, you know, to be a producer of a film and a workbook was, you know, kind of like, well, how did I get here? And to have her say that was, you know, because I felt confident each time we would have something special delivered to us, or somebody would say something, and in that case, Paula was saying something directly to me. You know, it might have been in reference to what she was experiencing at the time, but it was really a message that I took, you know, personally. And so that was probably one of the most powerful moments for me.
It's really a matter of giving them a new way of thinking about themselves and thinking about what's possible, and people create their own solutions. And that sounds simple, but it is groundbreaking for a training. We're calling this a docu-training because it's really about people's lives. It's a training, but it's just suggesting a skill set. It's not giving a recipe of solutions. And so I think that's different for people to see. Oh, I'm being trained, but you're not telling me what to do. I mean, that doesn't go together. But in fact, people do come out of these curriculums with behavior change. They know what to do. You just remind them of how to think about the possibilities in their life and how to be creative with what is. So that's groundbreaking, I think.
Mm-hmm. Really, it's my reason that I'm here. You know, this is my purpose in life, and I've, you know, realized this over the course of the last year or so, that, you know, everything I've done to this point in my life has sort of been a building block to this process, and it's my gift. It's what I have, you know, hopefully to leave to the world when I'm no longer here. So for me, it's been very moving, and I didn't want to cry, Barbara. You know, to know this at 42 years old, to have, you know, something to say, here I'm giving this out to the world.